Morning photographers. Today we're at the wonderful Golitha Falls. It's spelt Golitha, but it's pronounced Golitha apparently. The River Foy is travelling down there, and there's a series of waterfalls. Actually, the word waterfalls is pushing it a bit. It's really the river cascading over rocks, but it's pretty nice. So all you need for this trip is a tripod, a polarising filter, and Wellingtons. Oh, and a camera. All you need for this trip, oh, you get the idea. So I've found a composition. I don't think it's great, but anyway, I just want to show you the difference between shutter speeds. So this could be quite useful if you're a beginner. So the first shot I'm going to take is at 0.3 of a second. So that will give me some movement in the water. So I've got a polarising filter on, which cuts down about 1.5 stops of light, and it cuts off a lot of the glare on the water as well. So I'll take that shot and show you. Yeah, pretty good, but I'm going to try a few more just at different shutter speeds. So this next shot's going to be at 0.7 of a second. So a seventh of a second. So slightly faster shutter speed, because I don't want to get too much blur in the water, because that effect is just completely overdone. But I do want some movement. Now I'm going to go to another extreme and shoot it at f/22 aperture, and this will give me 6 seconds exposure, and this gives you that completely milky look, which I can't stand. It's a bit over the top. I've done it a lot in the past and I regret it all, because it's just too milky. It makes the water look way too unnatural. So try not to use too slow a shutter speed, otherwise you're just going to get a milk. And I see pictures of the sea like that as well. People take pictures with really long exposures and sometimes it just looks like milk. I think it can work in black and white, but in colour it just does not look right. So if you're going to come to Golitha Falls, I'd recommend coming in October or November ideally, because then you get nice fallen brown leaves, which make for really good foregrounds. And I've just found a composition a bit like that. So it's using my longer zoom, so 100 to 400 mil, and I'm set at about 250 mil. So I'll take that shot and see how it turns out. Now obviously when you're shooting at longer focal lengths, you've got to be quite careful about focus. It's so easy because you get such shallow depth of field, shallow focus. So I'm going to take the shot and then see if the leaves that are in the foreground are actually sharp, because if they're not, I'll do one picture focused on the leaves and then one picture focused on the actual water falling itself. So I just took that shot, which was at 250mm, and it's okay, but I think I'm going to zoom in even more on the action and see if I can get a slightly tighter composition. So I think that might be better. So I'm at approximately 320mm now, so even shallower focus. So I'm definitely going to have to do a focus stack, because I want to focus once on the leaves to make sure they're nice and pin sharp, and once on the actual where the water's actually falling and cascading, just to make sure I've got the whole scene in focus. So I found another shot now of a nice isolated, well, fairly isolated, large green moss covered rock, and I love mossy rocks. I've managed to find some before now in the same location, which are just completely surrounded by water. So I'll show you those. Now it's a lot darker here and it's clouded over, so the shutter speed's quite long, 1.5 seconds. And that gives quite a lot of flow to the water. So it might be too much, so I'm going to take another shot at 2 stops under the recommended exposure. And I wouldn't really recommend doing this unless you've got a high quality camera, because you can get pretty poor results. But luckily Sony cameras have a really brilliant dynamic range. Dynamic range is the difference between the brightest and the darkest areas of an image. So I'm going to shoot at 2 stops under, and then luckily you can lift that up to normal exposure, and it's equivalent to shooting at ISO 25, because I'm shooting at ISO 100 at the moment. So yeah, and you can lift that up, and hopefully it'll come out well without too much noise. So I'll show you both of those shots so you can see the difference in the flow of the water. Don't miss out on the finer details either. I love zooming in on small details in places like this, whether it's beech leaves, small pools, ferns, especially leaves backlit, that kind of thing. So looking through the leaves from behind. I'm not particularly a fan of fungi. I like to see it, but some people are really good photographers of fungi, like Guy Edwards. He's done some amazing shots, but I don't even bother taking them. But you might like to, so don't forget to miss out on the wonderful little details. So here's another good reason to take your time when taking pictures. So I had this shot lined up. I turned the polarizing filter around because there's a bit too much glare on the water. That's without the polarizer, or at least it's with the polarizer on, but it's not turned around. So whereas that's with the polarizer turned around to its maximum, and I much prefer that. But while I was taking my time looking at this image, which I've photographed before, but I just love the way this grass is coming out the top, I just noticed those two tree trunks which are right behind the grass here, and they're really, I find them a bit annoying. So what I need to do is lift my tripod up to get a bit more separation between those. So if I lift it up now, you can see what I mean. So with a bit more separation, they make a bit more sense. So I'm going to try and take that shot now. If you haven't subscribed yet, would you consider subscribing today, please? Because I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers so that I can continue to do this and maybe even possibly make some money out of it, because I haven't made a penny so far. So please subscribe if you haven't already. If you have already, thank you so much. I've only got 20 to go to get to 1,000, so I'm on 980. Thanks for watching this week's video, and until next time, bye for now.